is that your voice doing that?
What?
You're in the meeting now?
No.
I wish it was, you'd be making all kind of money. Excuse us.
Hey, how you doing?
What case he had? Come on, come on.
For Anthony Hopkins, that's 439 OAC.
You know who I see?
Yeah.
Hawkins.
Hopkins?
All right, let's get, Leslie back in here, please.
I'm just early.
Yeah, that's no problem.
Yeah, I'm just early. Check. It's gonna be something that's also. APA postal. Is that your knowledge of it? I'm sorry, postal, John Postal. Yeah, he's on it, John Postal, one of their, he's on. Oh, okay. You know what I do. Just a little, okay. Thank you, Jay.
You got his name on here already?
No, I just, I got his, but no, he wasn't there. That is. I told you. Oh, right.
Ready, I'm Mark Wesley,
Right.
calling case number 2155614, the people of the state of Michigan versus Mark Wesley. Defendant is charged with count 1, weapons carrying concealed. This matter is scheduled for examination.
Good afternoon, Your Honors. Prosecutor Lee. Good afternoon, Your Honor. Ronald Strong, here on behalf of Mr. Wesley, we're ready to proceed. We'll discuss the witnesses.
Judge, this time, we do not have our complainant secure officer not present. They've walked the hallway, called their name several times. Not here at this moment. We did just set the witness out. To them. We can't proceed without them. We would therefore, respectfully request.
Your Honor, we would move for dismissal at this time. And Judge, if you don't mind, I read the police report in this case, and the issue with this case is we're not disputing the facts. Okay, I don't need no justification to come back. Okay, at this point, it's dismissed. Thank you. That's without question.
Continue. I'm sorry, sir. So for you. 525. 5245.
Many hands.
Sean, can you do a dismissal form, please?
Yes,
sir. We'll be right back.
Okay. Oh.
You feel a lot better now?
Huh?
Feel a lot better since
No,
you
I
ate?
don't. Maybe because, my sleeping is off.
Maybe that could be it, yeah. You know, it's weird this year because of, I don't know if it's all COVID related or not. Because that hour, you still probably,
Oh.
your body's not caught up.
And then see, hardly know.
See, so you know, that's another thing too, that's it, yeah. Can't tell you something. I felt the same way when I did mine, that week.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, man, I did too much, I'm glad.
Mr. Moody, that's.
Right.
Yeah. Hold the exam.
Okay.
Just for that reason.
Okay.
I thought the extra day would help, you know, give me a little.
What's that?
Recuperate a little bit, but. Yeah.
No.
Do me a favor, do me a favor, turn your head that way. Turn your head that way. I'm just looking at your style. Look at my what? Your hairstyle.
Oh,
I like
yeah, I
that.
tried to get something different.
Yeah, you did, it's cool.
It's growing out, so.
Yeah, sure is. Since the 2 months of
Yeah. It's growing. It's growing.
Did you see the Grammys?
Uh,
Michelle, did you see the Grammys? No. Yeah, it's strong, so. It's strong, did you see the Grammys?
No, I did not.
As
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Why? Nobody else did.
Right, you're the only one seeing.
Well, I have younger daughters, and they wanted to see anything. One of my daughters, she's a singer, so I watched it, but I didn't watch it all because it was really.
That's just kidding you, Gary. That's cool.
Yeah, it wasn't good though.
You'd be up on the music.
Yeah, I ain't like how they, oh man,
You didn't like it?
I didn't care.
Man, when I go home, when I'm watching TV, I don't watch the news. I watch the moonshiners, swamp people,
Oh.
people in Alaska.
Yeah,
wrestling
I
like alligators.
So you think about going there?
No, it's something to keep my mind off of it.
I hear you, I'm like that too.
I'm tired of watching those.
It makes you mad, it's just piss you off anyway. What's up, buddy?
I'm just making sure y'all doing adequate, court functions around here.
We got the prosecutor of the OIC and witness on Dawkins.
Read it and we.
They told us not to do that.
You said?
They said they're not letting them fill it out, they said.
I don't, those are attorneys, but the attorney sign. So,
I told you, me all these minutes, I said, I don't.
they don't want the,
Okay.
I don't let nobody, I don't let
yeah, I
nobody do it.
understand, I understand.
I'm just letting you know.
I know, we're having a discussion here.
I'm just saying what Lieutenant
You know,
told me.
whichever, if I'm in your courtroom, I do it your way. If I'm in his courtroom, y'all my bosses.
No,
I
shut
was
up.
told to adhere to y'all
No,
rules.
the purpose is for the defendants.
I understand that, that's why I mentioned it to him. But he told me.
I guess either way is fine.
But I don't know.
He told me not to.
I heard the purpose was for contact tracing.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
but the purpose is not to let people.
See other people's information.
Right, little big money, I don't argue with you, 'cause I might need that dollar one day. That 10K, and they say, you be having it in your pocket.
And then, hey, Ty could, as usual, be totally
What did he
wrong.
just say?
See, I told you, he said.
And both
Hi,
of
Miss
them.
Kitty.
I told you.
She said, they call you Ty. I said, no, I had to think. I said, it's probably, yeah, Rob probably called. You're the only one I heard call Ty. And then she called me Ty too, so.
See, because we know who he really is.
He told me to, you know, always put a hand up, a deering sir. So that's what I call it.
We know we used to call him more money.
You know, the lady folk call him Deary.
Oh, I call him deering.
Take her with you, right?
Sir, but I put a sir on it though.
So you said Hawkins, right?
Yeah. And I called him by the wrong name. What did I say? I said Dawkins. That was earlier today.
Yeah.
Yes, on Hawkins. They, then, witness, prosecutor, and
Oh,
OIC.
we did have a dog.
I know, earlier, that's why I'm still on that.
Okay, so I'm gonna call Hawkins. You said she's out there, right?
If they were talking.
What about the other attorney I want to let you? Let's go. See if we can get both of them.
And we already done with Vaughn.
Mitchell, attorney on Collins. Is Mitchell, who is that?
Oh, Raina Mitchell, she called, she never called back. because she called to see if her client was here.
He's locked up, I remember that.
Right. But she said, I told her to call back, and she was like, well, I gotta be down there at 11 o'clock, I'll just stop in there and see. So she never called, or she didn't stop in.
Okay.
439.
You got that dismissal order?
Yes.
Oh, she's
Yes.
working on it. I'm not pushing no.
No, the prosecutor's in here.
I'm not forcing her.
What's
She
the
knows
name?
what's
Not
on it.
forcing an issue.
See, the thing is, the judge is not here, right? Don't he have to sign
Yes.
something?
Oh, she got a stamp.
This is Kitty.
I don't know.
What's your name?
Some just book, you know.
This is Mr. Every time he's looking for him, he's outside there. Now he's worried about rushing.
Who, me?
You.
I'm working. That's what my job
That's
is.
your job.
A lot of that.
Yes, hey, Ron. The reason why I said it, because you look familiar. I thought, if you said East Catholic, I said, oh, man. We might have ran each other quite a few times down there, man. I remember back in the day. Going out the other day. Cause you had a guy named, Big Eyes, what's his name? Guy. Greg Guy.
Yeah.
That was my guy, man. Greg Guy.
All right.
Man, that's all great about it.
I'm sorry, Mr. Strong, he stepped. Didn't even sign.
That's all great about it. Might have been about 20, 25 years ago. He didn't even look the same. He didn't even look the same.
Well, that's, you sure? Well, he's tall. He's still,
Greg walked in, remember that guy? Yeah. He was in his suit, I saw him, he had to be in his 30s, he looked like he was about 70 years old.
It might be the last time I saw him too.
That's not good, I just happened to hear that.
No, that's not good at all.
Yeah.
And he's an athlete. He was hell of a ball.
See some people got married, living their day of birth, 30 years old, person will be about 80 years old or something.
Y'all had a nice while with a couple of years there. A man, a guy I knew, we were dating, we had one sister out there, Merchant.
Yeah, Larry Bird.
Larry, left. We used to go head on there.
Oh, that guy had offers from UCLA back in the day. No one knows, I mean, those are the schools that just didn't have the grades.
That's it, yeah. A lot of guys we know, it's like that. He was moving to, he should went, I think he went off to junior college, because he was playing Lansing Community College, something like that. I remember playing at that late at community college, and we played against each other.
He did a whole bunch of time down in Texas.
That was his brother doing it. I think that was big, that was the wrong East man too.
Okay,
What's his name?
Keita. Keita was one of his younger brothers.
He had a couple of
A whole bunch of them, man.
that was the Keita though. Where he? Yeah, that boy. Man, he could have made pro kid. He was right, man. Oh, it almost came to his name. Edgar Merchant.
Okay.
Edgar was, yeah, Edgar was bad. This kid, he was tough with his great brother. And Larry smooth. Edgar just could shoot that ball like what? You know, he'd shake you up. He had all those little herky jerky.
He could bounce the ball.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of brothers, a lot of people that got, he got caught up in the shooting or something.
Like we get Larry, Keita,
The other brother, he was coaching at Howard Park Community College women team, girls team. I'm gonna say that. And emergence.
yeah, Terry Powell was one guy.
Fair time? Just think if you were playing for you, man, damn.
Yeah, we had some good ballers back in the day.
Terry, man, I'm going to Northwestern.
That's where he transferred to.
Killing it.
Let's see, we were class, we started out, we were class B, and then we went down to class C, and then went down to class D. And you ended up holding school.
Right. Cause yeah, you play, remember, team, a school on the west side, I forgot the name of the school. Catholic school, they had a lot of bad boys too.
Since used to always be, rude. The state.
Years, that's what it's from 60, late 60s to late 70s, Kennedy.
Hello. Which man are you on today? Okay, you get the
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, Judge, take care now. Okay, take care. You right?
Yeah, it's good to see you, Ryan. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, I got you checked in, right?
Yep.
Mr. John?
Yes.
Let me check. Here. Are you upset? Okay, I just called.
Okay, I'm gonna start
Okay,
with second one.
okay.
Thank you.
Judge. Okay, I called up. Give me a break up Collins and Hawkins. Collins, I know. School gonna get one of these at 2:00. Okay. And, eventually, it's going to college. It's gonna show up
No, came in the courtroom.
She came in the courtroom?
Yes, walked in the courtroom. Whichever case is really first, that's the one to do.
Okay, let me go and see if she's there. I sent them both up just to make sure we.
Yeah,
Well,
no, it was like, it was, what, 10, 11-ish, which came in the courtroom, and she left out.
She said she was gonna ask, she's trying to see if her client was here. Huh?
Isn't that client left out?
Yeah, but they had to do a writ to writ him out. So she was curious to know if they brought him.
Oh, okay.
No, she's not here. I don't think I see her. But she came at 11, that was earlier.
You ready on Hawkins?
Yeah, we're getting ready to get there.
I can try. Okay. And that's your OIC right there.
Yes. Hawkins is.
Okay, who do I have?
Oh, that's not how.
I tried.
Yeah, I think I'm about to get over there.
Yeah, let me get, my.
I need more, yeah. One is more than the locked up.
You're gonna be up here and he's gonna sit right there. I don't know if they're waiting to do it this way or not.
So, this is the
I wouldn't
inverter.
worry about it.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Hey, man, okay.
Doing up, sir. See my partner?
Who is this? Hawkins?
This Hawkins.
Attorney for Collins is not here, so. She got some thing, that would have been fast one.
Huh?
That would have been the fastest.
Right, that's what I was looking at.
Mr. Hawkins, put your mask over your nose, please. Thank you.
I'll go
pick up that order, see it's laying around here.
Somebody not doing it.
Someone's not.
That's not my job. I just did this.
Okay,
Someone's
yeah.
not covering themselves, yeah.
This is her.
Sorry.
I'm good.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay, good. So hopefully we'll reach out to the prosecutor. All right, sounds good. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. You too. Thank you.
What's your name?
Terry. I said Hawkins, that's all.
This is Carl.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but come on, I asked for Hawkins. You don't want to be here with this.
I don't want no, right, you don't want to.
Yeah, I don't want no parts of that, for real.
Judge, so there's a case next week, on Tuesday, March 30th. It's a homicide. It's two defendants. One of the defendant's attorneys is Matthew Evans. Matthew Evans is now, he's in Saginaw. So it looked like the prosecutor is the one who reached out to me and told me there was no other attorney appointed or assigned to it. So I did call and they appointed Lyle Harris, so she gave him the prosecutor's information, but the homicide, I don't know. If they're gonna do that. Huh? The homicide. Oh. Okay, well,
As long as he gets on discovery.
all right, well, they got somebody.
Today is Tuesday, it's next Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
The end of the week. I just need to call Mr. Harris, make sure he knows we're still going.
No, he knows. Yep,
Okay.
prosecutor knows too.
Mr. Glenn? Yes, Mr. Hawkins.
This way, Mr. Hawkins. Have a seat right there.
Okay, now,
That one, the clerk of the chamber, please. I think this is okay, it's okay for you. Oh, you know, and it's on this side, it was, yeah, perfect.
I want to know. I didn't know.
We call it.
He was talking, I didn't know. Ready on Anthony Hawkins? Calling case number 2062329, the people of the state of Michigan versus Anthony Hawkins Jr. The defendant is charged with count 1, homicide, murder, first degree premeditated. Count 2, weapons felony firearm. Count 3, weapons carrying concealed. This matter is scheduled for examination.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Katrina Bergamo on behalf of the people. Standing for the attorney of record, Jonathan Postma. My phone number is 80989.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Ludwig Lindbergh on behalf of Mr. Hawkins, D38683. Mr. Hawkins is in custody here in front of the court.
Hawkins, please state your name for the record. Anthony Lewis. Thank you, sir. You ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
How many witnesses?
2.
Any preliminary issues?
Yes, Your Honor. At this time, the people are requesting for a mutual sequestration order, with the exception for the officer in charge of the case, who is seated behind me, Officer Hulam Mia, as well as any family members who are watching on YouTube.
Well, the family members witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Any objection?
No objection, as long as these family members are going to be testified.
Oh, yeah.
All right, you know, witnesses testify today at trial or any future hearing must be the courtroom, including Zoom or YouTube, or be denied if you testimony, with exception to officer charge.
So they appointed one of
Thank you, Your Honor. And if you have a couple of stipulations, if I could place those on the record.
Sure.
The first stipulation is that if
Morgan General.
I'm sorry?
Are you on Zoom?
No, I'm not, no.
Oh, well, the person that said Morgan Gentle. Is that a
It
witness?
is not familiar to this case.
1 second.
Is it a lot of stuff?
Can't go in here late when you hold on. I mean, you can talk, she gotta talk.
The first stipulation is that if Tavon Houston, Tavon is Tavon, were to testify, he would testify that on 10/15/20, he went to the Wayne County Medical Examiner's office and identified the deceased as his father, Terry Martin. The second stipulation in this case, Your Honor, is that
Yeah.
if Detective Enrique Jackson were to testify, he would testify that on October 14th of 2020,
But
he extracted CCTV video from 15117 Homer is HOLMUR.
All right.
He performed a time calibration and the DVR system time was behind 30 minutes and 51 seconds. He exported the requested video to a formatted USB device. He placed the disk on evidence and tracker system and turned over a working copy to Officer Leon. And at this time, we do move for the admission of people's proposed number 1, which is the surveillance video.
No objection for the matter purposes only.
All right, and those stipulations are correct.
That's right.
Exhibit,
Thank you, Your Honor.
exhibit.
Exhibit number 1. And at this time, the people move for the admission of people's exhibit number 2, which is the autopsy report pursuant to NCR 766.11.
Any objection?
No objection for the matter purposes only.
All right, you admit it?
And if I can just briefly read a portion of that into the record.
Yeah.
On October 13th of 2020, Detective Leigh Labby, who is the Deputy Chief Medical Examiner, performed an autopsy on Terry Martin, that is ME case number 20-15036. It is her opinion that the death was caused by multiple 4 gunshot wounds. The first gunshot wound was a grazed gunshot wound to the mid-chin. The second gunshot wound was an entrance wound on the left chest. The wound track was from front to back, left to right, and downward. The third gunshot wound is an entrance gunshot wound on the left lateral abdomen. The wound track was from left to right and upward. There was an entrance gunshot wound on the front of the right forearm, which is gunshot number 4. The wound track, strike that. And the manner of death, she confirmed was homicide. And at this time, Your Honor, we do call our first witness, which is Mr. Cornelius Derry.
You swear or affirm to keep the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Door right there towards you. Carrie, you'll be asked a series of questions. First by the prosecutor, the defense attorney will probably ask you some questions, and I may or may not answer questions. You have to give you all your answers out loud, verbally using words. Right? They say, just shake it. So you have to know what it is. Also, when you ask a question, just answer that question and stop. If it's a yes or no type question, then just say yes or no, and stop. If they need additional information, they'll just ask for another question. All right? And then also when you're, we all have a tendency when we're asking, when we're talking about something, especially something that's dramatic, we tend to ramble. Say this happened, and this happened, and this happened. If you go on like that, I'm gonna miss something. If I miss something, I might not make the right decision. All right? I know nothing about this case. It says the defendant's name and his charges. I don't know your name. All right, with all my information, we have to record one question, one answer at a time. That way I can understand. And last but not least, because everybody's wearing masks and there's those areas, it's very hard to hear sometimes. I need you to please keep your voice up. You can pull the microphone down a little bit if you want, and talk into it, that will amplify your voice. All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Proceed.
Good afternoon, sir. Can you please state your name for the record? Mr. Perry, are you familiar with the address of 3703 Bangle Street?
Yes, ma'am.
How are you familiar with that address? And how long has he been an owner of the property for?
For 8 years, for 8 years, please.
And have you been going to that property for about a year?
Yes.
Were you there, well, can you describe the premises? Is it just a building?
It's a building on the corner of Finkel. It's a parking lot in the middle, and it's another building on the corner of Homer. It stretches from Finkel, from back to the Homer, across Finkel. You enter through the back alleyway, through the parking lot is big. The parking lot has a fence around it, so you have to come to the back to get to the fence.
Okay, and to get through that fence, you indicated that you have to come through an alleyway?
Yes.
Which is behind the building?
Yes.
Okay. And to get to that alleyway, are you able to go from both Dexter and Homer?
Yes.
Okay. Were you there the night of October 12th, 2020 at around 9 p.m. at night?
Yes.
What brought you to that location?
My father-in-law keeps his motorcycle up there, and then the following day, I had a funeral to go to because motorcycle buddy had passed away in a car and motorcycle accident. So I was up there watching the fight down, getting ready for it the next day.
And were you outside at this time watching the bike down?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you alone at the time?
No,
Or who was with you?
it was me. It was a guy named Sheldon up there. Sheldon, my friend Sheldon was there, female, and Terry T-Bone.
Okay. So at the time, there was 4 of you outside.
Yes,
And now you indicated T-Bone. Do you know T-Bone's real name?
Terry, I want to say Martin.
And how long have you known Terry for?
For about, I want to say, close to 3 years, 1 or 3 years, something like that. Probably so like that.
And can you describe, do you call him T-Bone?
We refer to him as T-Bone.
Okay. I will refer to him as T-Bone as well. Then can you describe T-Bone for us?
T-Bone was an interesting character. He had made some decisions in his life where he had to put on medication, and at times he wasn't himself. So my father-in-law was like a counselor to him in a sense. So he used to come up when he was feeling down, and he used to talk to my father-in-law and just get back up the spirits to deal with society that he had been locked up for a long time.
And was your father-in-law at that address at the time that T-Bone was there?
He was actually at the hall, which is across the parking lot on Homer.
About what time would you say T-Bone got to the location?
Well, when I arrived, T-Bone was already at the location with my father-in-law at the hall. I went across to 3703 at a t-shirt building, and where the motorcycle was, and I started washing down the motorcycle. While I started getting prepared to wash down the motorcycle, just getting my rags, my hot water together, stuff like that.
So let me stop you there. So you originally start at the t-shirt location?
Yeah,
Okay. And at the t-shirt location, is that where Sheldon's friend, your dad and T-Bone were?
yeah. My father-in-law was at the hall.
Was at the hall?
Yeah.
Okay.
T-Bone was at the hall with my father. He had left out for some reason to go to the gas station. Me, Sheldon, and Sheldon's friend was up behind the t-shirt building. It's a little like a shed we built back there. They were sitting up under the shed, talking and drinking and whatnot.
Okay. And then eventually you move over to this hall location to wash the motorcycle?
No, the motorcycle was at the t-shirt place. It was
Okay.
behind the t-shirt place. We stayed at the t-shirt place.
Got it. Okay. And now you said at some point T-Bone leaves.
I seen T-Bone coming from the gas station back towards the building. So I'm assuming he had left our building because his car was in our parking lot.
Okay. When T-Bone, when you see him coming back from the gas station or coming from the gas station, is he by himself?
Yes,
Okay. And, do you ever see anyone else come to that location?
yes.
Okay, who do you see?
I see the defendant, and I see another guy, chubby, they're shorter than him. He had like a low afro cut, with a t-shirt, black t-shirt on, matching pants, matching shoes.
Okay, now you indicated the defendant you saw that night.
Yes,
Okay, can you point to him, tell us something that he's wearing?
he's wearing a green jumpsuit with a blue face mask.
Your Honor, let the record reflect, you witness has identified the defendant, Mr. Anthony Hawkins. Now, you also indicated there was a shorter, chubbier individual.
Yes,
Okay, and who did it appear that he was with?
he was with the defendant.
Did it appear that the defendant, and the chubby person were with T-Bone?
No, it seemed, when I initially seen him, T-Bone was walking into our parking lot from the alley. These two guys were about 20 feet away from T-Bone, and he never noticed it. So when T-Bone got into our parking lot and got closer to me, I figured that these two gentlemen was gonna just walk past and go to the gas station, but they walked into our parking lot. So when they walked into our parking lot, I say to T-Bone and Sean, I said, hey, y'all know these guys? T-Bone turns around and he said, oh, that's my nephew.
Okay, let me stop you there. So are the the defendant as well as, well, since you know him as the shorter, chubbier guy, were they walking through the alley as well behind T-Bone?
They were walking towards T-Bone. They were walking together like this, coming towards each other. They were coming from the Homer end, T-Bone was coming from Dexter. They were walking towards each other, but T-Bone beelined into the gate before they kind of intersected each other, and they were probably 20 feet behind T-Bone. So then after he walked in the gate, they came in the gate.
Okay, and have you ever seen the defendant or the person he was with before?
Now before this happened.
And because, did that make you feel a certain way, not knowing who these individuals were?
Yeah.
How did it make you feel?
I felt threatened. I felt like something was gonna go down.
Was it unusual to see people who you do not know in that parking lot area?
Yes.
Okay. When T-Bone said, that's my nephew, did that cause you to feel a different way?
It gave me a sign of relief.
Okay. Do you recall what the defendant was wearing that night?
Yes, he was wearing a white hoodie with different colors on it, like rainbow colors almost, but it was like splash paint. He had on a matching face mask. I can't recall his pants and shoes.
Did the defendant ever pull his face mask down?
Yes, he did.
Were you able at that time to see what his face looked like?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And do you recall giving a description of the defendant that night?
Yes, I do.
And what was that description that you gave?
Brown skin, young gentleman about early 20s. He had a scratch across his forehead, a scratch under this eye on this side, and a scratch under this eye, left side and right side.
Does the defendant, the person that he's with in T-Bone, ever get close to each other?
Yes, we all were close to each other.
Okay. Does the defendant ever say anything?
Yes.
What does he say?
When T-Bone said, this is my nephew, the defendant got growled for some reason. He pulled his mask down and he pulled his hood back and he said, this is my uncle. I don't even got no stick on me. This is my uncle. I ain't up here on no SHIT.
And when he said, I don't have it, I don't have no stick on me, what did you take that to mean?
As a pistol.
And when he said that, did that cause you to feel any sort of way?
Yeah, I was wondering why would he go to that length to tell me he didn't have one on him.
Okay. Did you find that to be strange?
I did.
What happens next?
I shook the defendant hand. I told him, hey, it's no big deal, bro. He said you his nephew. I take it as you his nephew. I just didn't know who you two guys were coming into our lot.
And does T-Bone ever interact with them?
Yes. T-Bone then took over the conversation and said, hey man, what y'all need?
And does the defendant respond?
Yeah, the defendant said, his buddy, the chubby guy, wanted some weed.
Based on that conversation, do you see T-Bone and the defendant and the other gentleman do anything?
Yes, I went to wash my bike. They walked over, 2 cars over to T-Bone car.
Is Sheldon and Sheldon's friend still out there at the time?
Yes, they're under the shed that we built, having sips of alcohol and talk.
Okay. And T-Bone, how far away does T-Bone and the defendant walk away from you?
At that time,
Yes.
probably 12, 15 feet.
Okay. So still fairly close.
Yes,
And could you hear what they were saying?
yes,
And did it appear that their conversation seemed normal?
yes,
Did you pick up on any sort of hostility or tension?
no.
Okay. What happens next?
The chubby guy that was with the defendant said he wanted 3 acres of weed. T-Bone said, okay, $20, an acre. The defendant said, I don't have no money on me. This is all on you. At that time,
So they were doing some sort of drug
he was
transaction.
doing some type of drug transaction.
Okay. Continue.
So after they got done talking, they went to walk out the parking lot towards Homer Inn. And the defendant,
Let me stop you there real quick, I'm sorry. Who's they?
T-Bone and the defendant went to walk out. The chubby guy had walked out prior to
Okay. And did you see where the chubby guy went?
the car that was parked on home.
Okay. And did it appear that this car was associated with them? It was their car?
Definitely was, I asked him about it.
Okay. And when you asked them about it, what did they say?
Well, I asked him, I said, why don't you park on the lot, bro? You don't have to park out there on the street. He said, oh, don't worry about it, I'm about to leave in a minute anyway.
Can you describe the car?
It was a dark burgundy car, looked like a newer Saturn or Malibu type-ish car. It had like the blinker, the headlight, the whole side of the headlight was yellow.
Okay.
Like it was the blinker thing, but the blinker wasn't on, it was just yellow.
Okay. And you indicated that the chubbier guy had already walked to the car,
Yes,
and now it's just T-Bone and the defendant.
yes.
Okay. What happens next?
The defendant tapped me on my back. I turned around, he extended his hand, he said, my bad, bro, I didn't mean no problem. I said, no problem, bro, it's all good.
Okay. So in your mind, did it appear that everything seemed to be okay?
It seemed to be calm, but it seemed weird.
Can you describe what you mean by that?
I couldn't understand why this guy was steady trying to show me how relaxed he was or that he wasn't a threat.
Can you describe the defendant's demeanor when you were interacting with him?
He was kind of fidgety. He had a high-pitched voice, seemed kind of agitated, but I couldn't put my finger on it. He said he had just got into it with his auntie, so I figured that was the issue.
So in your mind, you were picking on something that was going on with
I
the
was
defendant?
picking up on something, but I couldn't put my finger on it.
Okay. After you shake the defendant's hand, what happens?
Him and T-Bone walks out the lot down the alley towards home.
Are you still able to see where they are?
Clear.
Okay. And what happens after the defendant and T-Bone walk down the alley?
I hear 3 shots.
Are you still looking the whole time at them?
No, when I hear the shots, actually, I'm looking at my motorcycle. I hear pow, pow, pow. I turn around instantly.
And what do you see?
When I turn around instantly, I see the defendant with a gun in his hand, a gun shape in his hand, running towards the passenger side of that red vehicle, front door. T-Bone is running towards me. T-Bone getting to me, and he said, that nigga tried to kill me. I said, what? He said, that nigga tried to kill me. And he fell out at my leg, at my feet.
And when he said that, who did you think he was referring to?
The guy that he said was the snappy.
And did it seem like, you said you saw the gun, the defendant with the gun?
Yeah, with pistol shaped object in his hand.
So it appeared to be a handgun, not a long
Yes,
gun?
it appeared to be a handgun, probably a mine or something.
Did you see any weapons on T-Bone?
No,
And did you see the defendant throw that gun at all?
no,
Did it appear that the defendant got in the car with the gun?
he did.
About how far away was T-Bone and the defendant with you at the time the shots happened?
They were probably about a little past 20 feet, probably about 35 feet or so.
And again, you could still clearly see.
They're right under a street light.
Now, you said that the defendant got into the front passenger side of the vehicle.
Yes,
Did you ever see where the chubby guy got in, what side he got into the
he
vehicle?
got into the back driver's side, but this was prior to the shooting.
Okay, so at the time of the shooting, the only two people that are out there are the defendant and T-Bone.
Only two people that's right there, the defendant and T-Bone.
Did you ever see a driver in that vehicle?
No, I couldn't make him, like I could see a silhouette, but I couldn't see an individual.
After T-Bone runs to you and collapses on the floor, what happens?
I ran across the hall to where my father-in-law was, and I said, "Pops, they just shot T-Bone." He said, "Who?" I said, "His nephew." And Sheldon, at the time, Sheldon's female friend was backing her truck up, and we ran back, we were trying to load T-Bone into the truck, to the back of the vehicle. Took us probably 3 minutes, we got him in the vehicle. My pop's on the phone with the police at the time, he got a hip problem, he couldn't help us. He's on the phone with the police though, relaying everything I'm saying. And at the same time, I'm helping get T-Bone in the car. We get him in the car, and at this time, he lied, but he can't say anything. Like he asked me, what's their name, why they do it, he's like, so we get him in the back of the car. Sheldon, female friend gets in the driver's seat. I tell Sheldon to get in the back, apply pressure to T-Bone's wound.
Okay. So in the car at the time taking T-Bone to the hospital is yourself, Sheldon,
No, man, I'm not in the car.
okay, Sheldon and Sheldon's
Yeah,
friend,
right.
okay. And you stayed back at the location?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you indicated that your dad, your pops is the one that called 911?
Yes,
Okay. And you were relaying to your pops what had happened?
yes.
Your pops was not out there at the time, you
No.
say? After T-Bone makes that one statement, does he ever say anything else?
No,
Did it appear that T-Bone walked with the defendant voluntarily?
shoulder to shoulder, heavily.
Now, after this incident, did you ever go to the police station?
No,
Okay. At any point, did you go to the police station?
I went to the headquarters.
Okay, headquarters. And were you asked, at that time to look at some photographs?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did you in fact do so?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, when you were shown those photographs, were you able to identify anybody?
I saw a guy that looked real familiar.
Okay. And when you saw the guy that looked really familiar, did you make any statements about that?
Yes, I said, I'm 90% sure that this guy was there the night of the shooting.
Okay. Is it fair to say that at the time you weren't comfortable to say 100% sure this is the individual?
Yeah, I was because of the photograph they had shown.
At a later date, do you recall going down to the Detroit Detention Center and doing a live line?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And can you describe how the live lines was conducted? What did you see?
Walked in, there was several individuals sitting behind the glass chairs, probably about 6 individuals.
Okay. And at that time, did you identify anybody in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you recall the number that you chose?
If it was six, if it was six individuals there, I would have to say it was number six, because it was the last guy on the end.
Okay. And do you recall making any statements, regarding when you chose that individual?
Yes, I do.
What did you say?
Just the shot T-Bone.
And the person that you identified in that live lineup as the person who shot T-Bone, is that the person who was identified as the defendant today?
Yes, ma'am.
I have nothing further, Judge.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Perry.
No.
All right, I just want to go over some of the testimony that you gave here, this afternoon. Firstly, going back on the night that you were describing here, you had indicated that, you were in the parking lot, in between two buildings, like one of the father-in-law, owned one of the businesses there.
He owned both buildings.
He owns both businesses?
Yes,
And does he own the vacant lot as well?
yes. It's not a vacant lot, it's our parking lot for the two businesses. It's fenced in.
Okay, it's fenced in and paved.
Yes,
Now, are there any security cameras, surveying that parking lot or that?
they are,
Okay. How many cameras are there?
I'm not sure, so probably two, three, not sure.
To your knowledge, was the surveillance system working that night?
I'm not sure. Knowledge,
All I want you to know is what you know. I want you to believe and speculate, is what you know, was the surveillance system.
I would assume.
You don't know. You don't know.
No, I'm not sure.
So you haven't seen any of the surveillance footage or anything like that, or what held this incident?
No,
No one showed you any still shots or anything like that?
no,
Have you read any witnesses' statements or anything like that?
no.
Are you sure? What other people said they saw?
No, I haven't heard anything.
Now, you indicated that on this incident was the first time you said you saw my client, right?
Yes,
And you had indicated when you looked at the photo line that you were 90% sure that
yes,
that was the person.
yes,
Now, is that percentage still the same today?
no.
Okay. How is it different?
When I seen him, it's 100% sure now. When I seen him in person, that it was no doubt in my mind that that was the guy that I saw that night.
Now, on this evening, were you consuming any alcohol, smoking any marijuana?
No,
Now, you said other people back there were.
yes,
Okay. Who was drinking or smoking?
Sheldon was drinking.
Sheldon was drinking?
Yes, him and his fiance drinking.
What was he drinking?
I'm not sure.
Okay. In your observation, was anyone intoxicated?
No,
All right. You weren't intoxicated with anything.
oh, not at all.
Okay. Do you wear glasses at all?
Not at all.
Now, you indicated that there was a street light in the parking lot or the alley.
It was a street light at the end of the alley on Homer.
Okay, so there's no security light in the parking lot?
Yeah, we had lights in the parking lot.
You have lights or?
Yeah, we had,
Okay. And they were on?
yeah.
Now, at any, well, from the time that you said that you first saw these two individuals walking through the parking lot of your mother-in-law's business, how long were these two individuals at that location? From beginning to the time that they left?
Probably about, I want to say about 5 minutes or so.
5 minutes or so? All right. During that 5 minute period of time, was there any loud talk or any arguing or any disagreements or anything like that that you observed?
Between who?
All right, between T-Bone and the two people that went there, the young guy,
No,
was there anyone else out there that argued or loud talking?
we really called it an argument. Like I said, I just felt like the defendant got agitated when I confronted him.
Okay, so he was agitated with you.
That's what I assumed until he said he got into it with his auntie earlier.
Oh, you,
I
okay,
figured he was just going through something mentally.
okay, so you figured he was just agitated about something girl.
Yeah.
At any point in time before you heard the shot, did you see anybody with any weapons?
No,
Did you see any drugs at all?
no,
Now, you indicated that, the Chevy guy wanted to buy some marijuana or some weed, he asked for 380?
38.
380s, okay, as in 180.
Yes.
And I believe the selling price for that was what, $20?
Yes.
Did you see any money in anybody's possession?
No,
Did you see, did you see any marijuana?
no,
Other than a firearm, did you see anything in, my client's hand or anyone else's hand, when they were leaving or running from the location?
no.
Oh, there.
I don't think there's.
Thank you, sir.
Does he walk out?
Yeah.
And we're just very briefly, we're just gonna call the officer in charge of the case,
What, we offer proof?
to admit the, live lineup, identification record, in this case indicating that number 6 was in fact,
Right, testify to that, what I need is one.
okay. Coming down, quick for it. That was pretty much it, Your Honor. If I can just, publish the surveillance video. Report. I'm sorry,
What am I gonna see? Why do I need to see it?
he testified to everything that's taken today, so,
All right, that's fine.
thank you, Your Honor. With that, the people arrest.
Then, no witnesses, Your Honor. Question if that's for a trial.
Judge, at this time, we are asking that the court bind the defendant over on all charges in this case. The victim identified this killer as the defendant when he ran back towards Perry and the others. Cornelius Perry himself also identifies the defendant as being the shooter. What the court did not see is the surveillance video, which does show that at the time that the shooting happened, T-Bone or Terry Martin is walking away from the defendant. The defendant starts to follow Mr. Martin into that alleyway, and it's only until they are in arm's reach does the defendant pull a gun and begin firing at Mr. Martin. That whole time that he's walking towards the victim in this case, he has time to weigh the pros and the cons, he has time to change his course of action, he continued on with that, and he waited until the exact moment when he was in close range to fire on the victim in this case. There was absolutely no reason, based on the surveillance video and based on what Mr. Perry testified to, for the defendant to feel the need to use a gun. So we're asking that he be bound over on that murder first degree premeditated charge. Lastly, Your Honor, Mr. Perry said that the defendant got back into the vehicle with the gun in this case, that he did not see the defendant or the defendant throw the gun. He didn't find the gun. It is presumed that the defendant entered that vehicle with the gun. So we are asking that he be charged on that carrying concealed, count 3 charge, and the accompanying felony firearm for the first degree murder. Thank you.
Felony to doing a claim for did in fact occur in Detroit, probably cause of charges defendant in Giles over the Wayne County Circuit Court Criminal Division for arraignment on the information. It will be March 30th, 2021 at 9:00 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you.
CR439.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you too. This on there?
Yes, yeah.
Ms. Mitchell?
Yes.
All right, wait. Mhm, mhm, mhm.
You want a partner right there? Yeah. Okay.
Oh, no, I'm looking at it now. Sure. Yes, yeah, I did. Right. Oh, okay. Let's try to call him. Ready on Terry Collins? Calling case number 2056989, the people of the state of Michigan versus Terry Collins. Defendant is charged with count 1, police officer fleeing third-degree vehicle code, habitual offender for notice. This matter is scheduled for examination.
Thank you, Your Honors. Trustee Burton.
Good afternoon, may I please, the most honorable court, Rita Mitchell, attorney on behalf of Mr. Terry Collins. Mr. Collins, can you state your name for the record?
Terry Martino Collins.
Ready, Your Honor.
Judge, I do have Officer Heather Fitzpatrick, the standard OIC in this matter is here. I do not, however, have my officer testifying today. Notices were sent out, we would report,
And Your Honor, we're respectfully requesting a dismissal. We've had several adjournments on this case, Your Honor. We were waiting for the prosecutor to break them out from Ionia, Your Honor. So we're respectfully asking for a dismissal at this time.
As dismissed without prejudice.
Thank you.
Meeting is dismissed for. Mr. Woodyard out there?
Yes, he is. As soon as we get him back, then I'll get him.
I don't know.
Your Honor, I have a quick question. What has the prosecutor been doing regarding the 180-day rule? Is that just on hold because of COVID or? I mean, like, what is the standard or protocol or what's going on? I didn't know if they.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, 100 days, we have to show that there's been some reasonable delay. In the middle of the pandemic.
His reason, right, because he said, Jim Worthy sent him a notice about his 180-day rule, and I was like, I just never heard, I just wanted to ask you, if you know anything, I just found out that kind
I
of thing.
mean, you can send a notice to the prosecutor's office, say, hey, you violated.
Okay,
But it wouldn't have went anywhere.
right, okay. Thank you.
Ms. Mitchell, you wanna know if you're gonna go talk to him? Yeah.
No.
Oh,
He good.
Okay.
Yes,
That's all right.
The client wanted you to talk to him.
oh, okay. You letting me back in?
Yeah, this a little different. We don't usually do this.
I love your hair like that.
Thank you.
Hi,
Yes, I'm getting ready to take care of it.
thanks for the day.
Say it again? Oh.
I'll tell you when you go.
I'll get you. Did you get your information? Well, no. It's a random meeting. Yeah. I'll see you later.
See you guys.
See.
See you guys. All right.
Oh, I didn't get your cups. Is those your cups?
Yeah, what you doing?
They own.
Oh, no.
That's good.
On who?
On the booze.
The one that we just took out?
Yeah, Collins. You want?
Take them off. Okay. Let me go ahead.
That's what's in.
Bring another.
Because you don't need one.
Right.
Did you like a doctor for Thursday? Can you get a chance?
For what day?
Thursday.
Do you need my info? Or would Depp ask me for it?
Oh, no, yeah, they need it. Yeah.
What's happening, Louis? How you doing? Good. Are you using around today? Making some progress. Yeah. Little by little.
All right.
Little by little.
Yeah, I do.
Mushroom. On the job injuries, Mr. Moody.
Oh, you don't want any workers' comp, huh? Get out of the way here.
Okay, so.
Oh, no. I'm gonna change
Five?
it.
Fine,
Cannot be located, but could not appear.
okay. I was trying to figure out which one to pick.
No, we can locate him.
Just not today.
What's your client's name again?
Terry Collins.
Is this mine?
Uh-uh.
Oh, you gave it to me. It's in my hand.
Docket's over here.
It's in my hand.
Oh,
I'll give it to
now
you.
this too, huh?
Yeah, I'll give it to
No, one for the defendant and one for the prosecutor. Yellow's for the defendant.
Oh, the actual client.
That's yours. Pink the prosecutor.
That's hers. Okay.
Right, I'm blind. I work
Does she get one for the client back there? So you give it to her. You give it to her client back there.
Yeah, the yellow goes to her.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay, all right, see you guys.
All right, thank you.
All righty.
You ready? What is it? Is it Hodge? Calling case number 2155804, the people of the state of Michigan versus Larry Hodge. Defendant is charged with count 1, assault with intent to murder, count 2, assault with intent to rob while armed, count 3, weapons, firearms, possession by a felon, count 4, count 5, count 6, weapons, felony, firearm, habitual offender, fourth notice, mandatory 25-year sentence. This matter is scheduled for examination.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Nathaniel Scott on behalf of the people, P78816.
Judge, good afternoon, and to your staff, good afternoon. Michael Woodyard, I'm appearing on behalf of and with Mr. Hodges, my IP number 64612. Sir, say good afternoon, say your name.
Good afternoon, Larry Hodge. Ready for this? See?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Judge.
Preliminary.
Your Honor, just a request for mutual sequestration, simply for the record.
Your Honor, the people asked for an exception for the officer in charge of the case, Detective Victor Black.
That's fine.
No.
Right, you know, whether it's testifying today at trial, any future hearing with the courtroom will be denied that future testimony. You have any prior thoughts?
I do not.
All right, so I'm trying to get it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
How many witnesses do you have?
Just one. At this time, the people call Mr. Anderson.
What's the deal on that case? Deal on the case. This is
Fine, fine.
Oh, this is it.
Give the court for your name, please.
We're in Crenshaw.
you come on this way, then? Walk over, straight with me. You raise your right hand. You swear or affirm to the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Yes, sir. All right, you close this door right here for me, and have a seat right there. All right, hold on. Mr. Crenshaw, you're gonna be asked a series of questions. First by the prosecutor, then the defense attorney will try to ask you questions. And I may or may not ask you questions, all right? You have to answer all your questions out loud, verbally, use your words. Just can't shake your head or say, and say yes, no, whatever the answer is, all right? All right, when you ask a question, I need you to just answer that question and stop. If it's a yes or no type question, just say yes or no. If they need additional information, they'll ask you another question, all right? Yes, sir. Whenever, we tend to talk about something, especially if it's been traumatic to us, we tend to ramble. We'll say this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened, we'll go on and on like that, all right? If we do that, I'm gonna miss something. If I miss something, I might not make the right decision, all right? I know nothing about this case. The only thing I know about this case is the defendant's name and what he's charged with. And now I know your name. I get all my information from what happens in court, one question, one answer at a time, that way I can understand it. Okay? All right, and last but not least, because we're all wearing the mask, we've got the barriers, it's sometimes difficult to hear. I need you to keep your voice up. And you can speak directly into that microphone, you can put it down a little bit so you can make it easier. Yeah, that will help amplify your voice. All right, thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir. Can you please state your name for the record?
Wayne Crenshaw.
And Mr. Crenshaw, where do you live?
I live at 16225 Greenfield Road, apartment 204, 48235.
And is that in Detroit?
Yes,
Is that in Wayne County?
yes,
And did something happen in your apartment that you're here, for what you're here to testify about in court?
yes.
What happened? Well, let me ask you this. Did something tragic happen?
Yes,
What happened?
I was shot in the neck.
Okay, and what day do you recall the date that you were shot?
September 6th,
And what year would that have been?
2020.
And let's talk about the events leading up to you being shot. Do you know who you were shot by?
Yes.
And how do you know that person?
The person stayed across the building from me. I stayed in the front building, he stayed across from the other apartment building.
So he stays in the building in which you stay in, or he stays in a totally different building?
He stayed in a totally different building, but as soon as you leave out that building is right there.
Okay, so how do you know him though?
I know him all the time. I know him all the time.
How long have you known him?
Probably 3-4 months before he shot me.
Okay, and what's the nature of your relationship with him?
I didn't really have a relationship with him, you know what I'm saying? But I used to see him, we used to speak, you know what I'm saying? And this and that.
Okay, and you're saying he. Do you know his name?
No, I didn't know his name before.
Okay. Do you know what he looks like?
Yes.
And is he in the courtroom today?
I don't see him.
I'm gonna ask you to look around the courtroom one more time. You don't see the guy who shot you in the courtroom today?
The guy who shot me had dreadlocks.
Okay. And so, did the police show you a photo array of the guy who shot you?
Yes.
And you were able to identify him?
Yes.
But you do not see him in the courtroom today?
I don't see him. He had turn lights.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask for purposes of this identification, Your Honor, I'm going to ask that,
Yeah, it would.
okay, now you said at the time you didn't know his name.
No.
Do you know his name now?
Yes.
What is his name?
Objection, Judge, it's gonna call for hearsay, it's gonna call for hearsay.
You didn't know.
Not for purposes of identification, Your Honor. Hearsay is an
It's
exception.
still, someone else told him. He didn't know when this happened.
Okay,
Someone else told him since then.
okay. So when you were shot, where were you shot at?
I was shot in my neck.
Okay. Where were you physically? Were you in your apartment?
I was in my apartment.
Okay. When you were in your apartment, did the guy come over?
Yes.
Did you let him into your apartment?
Yes.
So what happened?
When I let me in my apartment the first time, came a boy. And then he came.
I'm sorry, he did what?
He came and bought 3 new cigarettes.
Okay,
Then he came back 2 hours later and shot me.
okay. So the first time that he came and purchased new cigarettes, so you sold him 3 cigarettes?
Yes,
And where do you keep the cigarettes?
in my drawer.
It's relevant.
It's relevant for the charge of count 2, Your Honor. Because what else do you keep?
Where he keeps the cigarettes is relevant towards that count? How is that?
Because he also keeps something else in the
Well, you can get to that. I don't care where he keeps the cigarettes.
okay. What else do you keep in that drawer?
I had $500 in that drawer.
Okay. When the person who came over and whom you say shot you, where was he at when you, went to retrieve the cigarettes?
The second time he came, he asked for
No,
3
he's asking
cigarettes.
about the first time. He's asking about the first time when he came and you got him a cigarette. Where was he
Okay,
when you got the cigarette?
he was in the living room.
Okay. Did he follow you back to your bedroom?
No,
Okay. The second time that you said he came over a second time, what happened the second time that he
the
came?
second time he came over, asked for 3 cigarettes, opened the drawer, and then he shot me.
Okay. When he asked you, how far apart were you when he asked you before he shot you?
About 6 feet, man, probably not even 6 feet.
Okay, so you were in the room at this time? In
Yes,
your room?
yes.
And again, you said you were, how many times were you shot?
I was shot 1 time in my neck.
And he's pointing for the court, Your Honor, he's pointing to
And
the
it-
right side of his,
Right here.
sorry, okay, let me, identify for the court where you've been shot, okay? Your Honor, for the record, the defendant was pointing to, the victim was pointing to his, right side upper neck. And you said you were shot 1 time?
1 time. And when he shot me, my knee hit to the ground, and I charged him. And he hit me with the pistol like 2 times.
Okay, so what happened after he,
It's just a mark right here.
and when you say right here, you're pointing to the left
Right
side of
here.
your temple?
Yeah,
Okay, so he hit you twice in the face with the gun,
yeah.
and then what happened?
I finally got the gun out of his hand, and I fought him for like 20, 30 minutes. With a bullet in my head.
Okay. So, so you saw the gun in his hand?
Yes,
Do you know what type of gun it was?
it was probably like a 2225.
And so what happens after you call?
Call him for like about 20, 30 minutes. The neighbor came across the hall. And I ran across the hall to the neighbor.
Okay. Did you call the police?
Yes, I called the police.
Just come on, Mira. Give me 1 second. Your Honor, may I approach the witness? I'm approaching with what will be marked as People's Exhibit 1.
Judge, I'm going to object to this being for the profit of the witness. I don't believe it's appropriate.
What's the objection?
Judge, I think I have to make my argument outside of the presence of the witness.
All right, Mr. Crenshaw, I need to step down just for a minute, please. You can have a seat in the witness room, and we'll call you back in just a few minutes. Okay? Thank you.
Judge, I believe the prosecutor showed me a copy of the lineup. It's a photographic lineup, a six-pack. Judge, I think that it would be improperly suggestive to show this to the witness, especially in light of the fact that he's identified or testified in court that first that he doesn't see the person, and then he made some more specific reference to the hairstyle. Judge, I think that showing him a six-pack photographs right now with a name and a circle and all those things, I think it would be unduly prejudicial to my client in light of the fact that in court identification, he apparently, I don't know what his issue is or what his memory is, but I'm going to take him at his word, and I think it would be unfairly prejudicial.
Well, Your Honor, I'm going to ask that everyone in the court remove their mask there for purposes of identification. I can't ask that he change his hair, but he identified that he knows him as Red, and I think that the masks are probably impeding his ability to actually see the defendant's face. So I'm going to just ask that his mask, or all of our masks, be removed for the purposes of identification.
Okay. That's a different issue. We'll get to that in a minute. Do you have anything to say about this issue regarding the lineup? I assume it was a photogenic lineup.
It was, Your Honor, and I was going to show it until I thought about us removing our mask, and I think that's what is impeding him to be able to identify the defendant in this case.
Okay, you're still not addressing the issue that he motioned on. I'll get to that issue, but do you want to address the issue that he motioned on?
I'm going to withdraw the showing of the exhibit once I ask him, once we do the in-court identification.
Okay, and if there is no in-court identification, then you're gonna try to resubmit the document, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so now I need you to respond to his motion.
Your Honor, I don't think it's suggestive because at the time that the defendant was given this picture, he was able to identify the defendant. He said he known him for 3 or 4 months prior to this incident, and he says that he knows him as Greg. And in this lineup,
Knows him as having dress. He didn't say he knows him as dread, he said he knows him as having dress.
right,
It's like, yeah.
he knows him as having Greg, so that is testimony that has not been introduced, Your Honor. Because he does say there is other information that that's what he knows him by, he doesn't know his actual name.
Oh, well, I don't have that on the record.
Correct, Your Honor. So for the purposes of identification, he was able to identify him through a photo array that was given to him based on his description of the defendant. In this picture, he does have dread, and he was able to positively identify him.
Okay. Does anybody else in the picture have dread?
Yes, everyone in the picture has dread.
Oh, okay. I want to make sure it wasn't overly suggestive.
No, there's
All right.
6-pack, and each person in 6-pack has dread.
Okay. Well, she's allowed to produce the evidence that he was previously in a photogenic lineup. We show him their lineup. You can say, did you pick someone out of that lineup? And he can say, yes, I picked out number 6, which is probably what's circled and what it said. And then we'll deal with the issue of, that's not overly suggestive because it's already happened. And it's already what he has said or done. Now, still have to deal with the issue of there is no in-court identification. Even if he says, yeah, I looked at this lineup, or I look at a lineup, and I see these are the pictures that were shown to me, and I picked out number 6. So what? What does that mean?
No, I understand what you're saying.
I still have to get an in-court identification, or this all goes away. Now, as to the request that all masks be removed, I don't have a problem with that. That's how I handle it. I make everybody, I won't allow where just one person, like the defendant, removes his mask. But I will allow that everyone in the courtroom remove their mask. And we'll do it for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever it takes.
Judge, I think that that's appropriate as long as everyone in the courtroom does that.
Yeah.
I don't have an objection to that.
Put it on. Put the mask on.
Put the mask on. Sure.
Well,
Yeah, until I tell you to do otherwise, leave it up. Okay, charges still on the oath, right? And when you were out, you didn't talk to anybody about your testimony, did you? Okay. All right.
Thank you. Let me go back a little bit. You said that you don't know the person's name who shot you. Do you know his nickname? Does he go by any other name that you do know?
No, his name is Giles.
Judge, I asked
No.
that it be stricken.
At the time that you were.
Hold on.
Okay.
I asked that that answer be stricken because of the testimony prior from the witness who indicated that he never knew that name, that he was told that name. I objected on hearsay.
You said his name was what? I couldn't even understand what you said.
Repeat your answer.
His name was Giles.
Okay, and who told you that?
Everybody in the field.
This was after the incident occurred.
Yes.
You didn't know a name before the incident occurred, right? All right.
At the time that you were.
Hold on.
I'm sorry.
Finish my job.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna strike an answer.
Thank you.
At the time you were shot, did you know any name of him to go by?
No, I don't know any name like it.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, I'm gonna ask for everyone in the court to remove their masks.
All right, have everybody, take your mask off. Stay where you are, at least 6 feet apart, but remove your mask.
Now, I asked you earlier if you were able to identify the person who shot you in court. We have now all removed our masks. I'm going to ask you to look around this courtroom one final time to see if you see the person who shot you on, September the 6th, not September 6th, 2020. And where are you pointing? Can you describe something that the person that you're pointing has on?
Really green.
All right, put your mask back on, please.
Your Honor, please let the record reflect that the witness in this matter has identified Mr. Larry Hodge.
The record will reflect.
Thank you. Mr. Crenshaw, you testified that the person who shot you, the defendant in this case, took $500 from you. Where was the
No,
money?
I didn't hear that.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't. He said there was $500 in the drawer. I didn't hear anything about him taking $500.
Okay,
That was not the testimony.
okay, well, let's back up then. You said that you had $500 in the drawer in which you kept your cigarettes, is that correct?
Yes.
What happened to the $500?
Well, he took it.
When you say who are you referring to?
Nice.
Okay, and how do you know he took it?
Because after he shot me in my neck, my knee went to the ground and I charged him. And he moved the gun like a couple times. And then I got the gun out of his hand. I fought him for like 20, 30 minutes. And the neighbor across the hall came in because everybody heard it in the building. So she came in, I ran over her house, you know what I'm saying? And then he took the money.
Okay, so before you ran to the neighbor's house, did you see him take the money out the drawer?
No, I didn't see the money. I didn't see him take the money out of the drawer.
How did you know the money was missing?
Because everybody, they came down, everybody came in.
From your own personal knowledge, how did you know that the money was no longer there?
Because when I went to the door, came out the door, and when he left, I went back over to the apartment and my money was gone.
Okay, thank you. No further questions at this time.
Good, thank you. Mr. Crenshaw, hello, good afternoon. Listen, if you don't understand something I say, just tell me and I'll try and say it again, okay? We got a lot of these masks and everything, okay? You said that everybody in the building had heard commotion in your apartment? Is that right?
Yes.
And you have to say yes or no too. And so so you said your neighbor came over, right?
Yes.
What's that person's name?
My name is Deborah.
Deborah came over, okay. Yeah. Other people showed up, kind of milling about in the hallway, do you know?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. More than just 2 people?
Yeah, everybody in the building.
Whole lot of people came down there.
Yes.
Because it was a big commotion.
Yes.
Late at night?
Like at night, 2 in the morning.
So everybody's probably awakened and comes down.
Your Honor, I'm gonna get to the word probably, that's called for speculation.
It's called speculation. There's a lot of people there.
There were a lot of people there. So, Mr. Crenshaw, you said that this person you say is named Hodge came to your house twice that day?
Yes,
And the second time they asked you for cigarettes? Yes?
yes,
And you went to get cigarettes?
yes.
And to do that, let me ask you, I've never been in your apartment. Do you have to go toward the back of the apartment?
So I go to my bedroom.
Where is that in relation to the front door? You turn your back to the front door?
It's the back, it's in the back.
Okay. So you open the front door? Is that where this person came to, was the front door?
Yes,
They asked for cigarettes? Yes?
yes,
And then you turned to go get the cigarettes?
yes. They go, while they walk all the way to my bedroom, and that's where he shot me at.
You didn't make it to the bedroom?
No, I made it to the bedroom. They shot me in the bedroom.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Crenshaw. How many steps do you take from the front door until you get back to that dresser where the money and the cigarettes are? 2 steps, 20 steps? Give me some sense. How far is it?
I can't count that.
Okay.
I mean, like 15 steps,
Okay.
20 steps.
Okay, I
To
appreciate
the
that.
bedroom, I don't know.
Okay, that's fair. So you take 15 or 20 steps, you're not looking back over your shoulder every step, right?
No,
Okay. And as far as you know, this person is standing in the doorway, right? Is that yes?
no, he in the apartment.
He came in. Okay. All right. Did the door close behind him?
Yes,
Okay. And you walked back to your bedroom, correct?
yes,
And you said that you kept the cigarettes in an area where there was some cash too.
yes,
Okay. Now, Mr. Crenshaw, you testified a couple times about what happened with the gunshot, and you fell to your knee, and you charged him, and he hit you twice with the gun, right? Yes?
Yes.
yes,
And then you got the gun away from him, and you guys fought for another 20 or 30 minutes.
right, yes,
You managed to break away from that fight,
yes,
and you ran out your door,
yes,
leaving this person behind you, correct?
yes.
And is that when you saw all the people in the hallway?
No, I only saw one person.
And who was that?
My neighbor across the hall, she came across the hall, and I ran across her hall.
Got it.
Ran across her apartment, locked the door. He ran behind me.
You think the person who did this to you came out of your apartment right behind you?
Yes, he did.
Okay, all right. And you went into Miss Deborah's apartment?
Yeah, went in his apartment, and then they called the police.
Miss Deborah did.
Yes,
The person who did this to you ran out of your apartment behind you, correct?
yes.
They didn't run into Miss Deborah's apartment, did they?
No, I locked the door.
You locked the door. And that was it. You stayed in there and then until the police came. And when you came out, there were a bunch of people in the hallway. Is that true?
No, it was a bunch of people.
Hmm.
It was like 1 or 2 people.
Okay.
Then I went back into my apartment, and then my money was gone.
That's when you went back to your apartment.
Yeah,
Got it. Let me ask you this. When you open your door to your apartment and you walk in, does your door automatically swing closed or do you have to pull it closed? Your door was open. When you got back after leaving Miss Deborah's
yeah,
house?
it was like about 2, 3 minutes.
Okay, and the door was open?
Yeah.
Got it, thank you. You did not see this person actually shoot you, correct? Actually shoot you. You felt the pain.
No, I seen him actually shoot me.
Okay,
He came in there trying to kill me.
okay. I thought you said your back was to them though. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
He came in there trying to kill me.
I'm sorry that happened to you. But I'm trying to figure out what it is you actually saw. I thought you said that your back was to them.
Yeah, my back was to me, but he shot me in my neck.
Okay.
And I hit my knee hit the ground.
Right.
And I rushed him.
Okay.
And I fought him to survive in there.
You own a handgun, Mr. Crenshaw?
No, sir.
During the course of any given day, Mr. Crenshaw, you have people come into your apartment quite regularly? Is that fair?
No, sir.
Hold on.
But Judge, I think it's a question of
No, sir.
identification.
Hold on.
I think it's a question of identification, Your Honor, and if there's other people who could have done this, I think that's relevant. Thank you, Judge. Okay. Mr. Crenshaw, you said that when you came out of Ms. Deborah's house, you noticed your door was open, true?
Yes.
Okay. Were you with the police at that moment in time?
No, the police haven't came yet.
They had not, okay. What about the ambulance?
No.
No. Where were you, where did you wait for the police in the ambulance?
Oh, in Deborah's apartment.
Got it. Okay. Did you come out of Deborah's apartment from, I'm gonna give you 2 points, okay? One is when you ran in there and shut the door behind you, right? That's point 1. And then point 2 is when the police come and the ambulance come and you go out with them and you leave. Did you leave Miss Deborah's apartment in between those 2 moments?
I went in the apartment.
I'm listening.
I got shot.
Okay.
Go in there and check on my money because my money was in there.
Okay.
So when we went in and checked on my money was gone.
Got it.
So I went back to the apartment until I got a bullet in my head.
I know. So when you went back to your apartment, you noticed the money was gone. You didn't see the person who did this to you, right? You didn't see Hodge?
No.
Okay. He wasn't anywhere around?
No.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I don't have any questions. Thank you, sir. Anything else?
When you ran to Miss, what you call her Deborah, when you ran to Miss Deborah's apartment, where was she at?
When I ran to Deborah's apartment, she came over there, but when she came over to the apartment, when I was fighting.
So she came over to the apartment before you ran to her apartment?
Yeah.
Where was she at when you were fighting, Mr. Hyde?
I had Hodge on the floor. And I ran to his apartment. I ran to her apartment, locked the door, he ran behind me.
Where was Miss Deborah when you ran to Miss Deborah's apartment?
She was right there.
When you say right there, what are you referring to? Was she with you or was she still in your apartment?
No, she was still in my apartment.
Okay, so she was still in your apartment with Mr. Hyde?
Yes.
Did she ever come back to her own apartment?
Yeah, about 5 minutes later, and she said that he
Well,
took
don't
her.
tell me what she said. Okay. When she came to, let's back up, actually. When she came back to her apartment, so you had to open the door for her, correct?
I had to open the door for her.
When she came back to her apartment, where was Mr. Hyde? Do you know? Okay, so you don't know if he was still in your apartment at the time?
No.
Okay, so you said that she said something to you, what did she say?
Objection, hearsay, Judge.
Your Honor, I'm gonna say that it was a prejudice impression.
No. Want something else, please?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Want something else, please?
Okay. So at the time you said that you, at the time that Ms. Deborah came back to her apartment, you and her waited for the police?
Yes,
Okay. And was Mr. Hodge there when the police came?
no,
At the time that Mr. Hodge shot you, was there anyone else in the apartment?
no.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Could I just 1 second, Judge, please, sir?
In this case, it was
Yeah.
Judge, no other questions, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, you can step down. Anything further?
Your Honor, the people have no further witnesses, so I will not be taking any further testimony. But for the purpose of count 3, possession by felon, I have a certified record whereby the defendant was found guilty on October 7th.
Judge, I'd be prepared to stipulate that he's been convicted of.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you're gonna set this client as a fast felony, he has not gained the right to possess a firearm.
All of those things, yes, Judge.
And at this time, the people ask you to bind over on all counts and reserve argument.
Judge, I think that in terms of the witness's credibility, it was interesting to me to hear how he recounted the version of events that he believes he recalls. And he did so in an exacting way. Every single time he told the story the exact same way, using almost literally the exact same words, which is interesting to me. I think it suggests that the testimony, for whatever reason, has been sort of, maybe he's thought about it a lot, maybe people have talked to him about it a lot. I don't know, but it does not lend an air of credibility, in my view. Now, that said, Judge, I think the court should remember the challenges that this witness had in identifying the person whom he said he shot him and who fought with him for 20 or 30 minutes. And I think that when you remember the challenges he had, again, that does not bolster his credibility in the identification. The only specific charge, Your Honor, I would like to quibble with is the question of count 2, assault with intent to rob while armed. There's no evidence that Mr. Hodge took that money. None whatsoever. In fact, there's ample evidence that it's unclear exactly who took it, even if it existed. Well, let's assume it did. Mr. Crenshaw testified that he ran out of the apartment and the person who did this ran behind him. And he ran into Ms. Deborah's apartment and locked the door behind him. And then, in fact, Ms. Deborah then stayed at Mr. Crenshaw's apartment for an additional 5 minutes. I'm not trying to pin anything on Ms. Deborah, but there's no evidence that Mr. Hodge took that money. So I think count 2 should be dismissed. The felony firearm count that attaches to that should be dismissed, Judge. And the rest I leave to the court's discretion.
Sorry. Yes. Your Honor, the people believe that the victim is very credible in the fact that he was able to recount specifically everything that happened to him in his apartment on September 6th of last year. Your Honor, he knows who shot him, and although he did have some difficulty in the beginning, once the people asked that this court allow a proper in-court identification with the rule of mask, he was able to properly identify who it was that shot him. He said he had been knowing him for 3 or 4 months. He had come over twice that day to buy some cigarettes. The second time that he came, he said that the defendant followed him into his room and he had kept cigarettes in the same drawer as when he had his money. He said that once he went back into the apartment, he noticed that the $500 was gone. For probable cause purposes, Your Honor, we believe that the elements are met as to the assault with intent to rob. Mr. Hodge went over to the apartment the first time, bought loose cigarettes for him, left, came back, bought loose cigarettes again, and at that time, he assaulted him, and not only did he assault him, he came back with the intent to murder. And the court was able to view the injury to Mr. Crenshaw's neck, and he testified that it came out, so you were able to see the injury. The defendant's intent is clearly shown by where he shot him, and then he went on to rob him. Mr. Peoples' contention that it was his intent to come back to rob Mr. Crenshaw when he came back to purchase the loose cigarettes that again were in the same drawer as the money that he kept. So the people ask that you bind over on all counts, Your Honor.
All right, court having heard the testimony and arguments, finds this and Mr. Wayne Crenshaw, who lives on Greenfield Road, apartment, that on 9/6/2020, he was shot in the neck. He stayed in, the person that shot him stayed in the building across from him. You've known him for 3 to 4 months. More as an acquaintance, he would see him and speak, say hello, that kind of thing. That shot him in his dreadlock. Initially, when they asked to look around the room to see if the person who shot him was here, he honestly said, no, I don't see the person, because he said he had dreadlocks. And the dreads, right now, they kind of look like they're pulled back. Back to me. I mean, I can't see the back. They said he was shot in his apartment. He had let him in the first time he came in, bought 3 loose cigarettes. He came back several hours later. He wanted some more cigarettes. He opened the door. He started walking back to his bedroom where the cigarettes were. He got back to the bedroom, and the person shot him in his neck, dropped down to one knee, and then rushed down, fought over the gun, got the gun from him. After he was hit in the face with the gun a couple of times, he got the gun out of his hand. He said they fought for 20, 30 minutes before he just ran out, ran into his neighbor Deborah's apartment. The neighbor Deborah went into his apartment and was in there approximately 5 minutes. He came back, she came back, and then he ended up going back to his apartment because he went to look for his check to see if his money was there. His money was missing. Then is charged with count 1, assault with intent to murder, 2, assault with intent to rob while armed, 3, possession of firearm, possession by a felon. We had a stipulation that the defendant has to have a felony record, no right to possess a firearm, and 4, 5, and 6 are the felony firearm. Due to the witness, I mean, just because he described the incident almost using identical words each time, I don't see how that affects his credibility. He said the same thing. And although initially he did not identify the defendant, when everybody in the courtroom was asked to remove their mask, he identified the defendant. Straight at him, pointed, so he was wearing green. Court's going to find that the felony enumerated complaint warrant did in fact occur in the city of Troy. The probable cause to charge this defendant. I can infer from the fact, especially at the count 2 with the assault with intent to rob, that they weren't beefing, they had no issues. I can infer that the intent was to take the money, and that's what ended up happening. The money ended up missing. and it becomes a question of fact. Court finds that the felony enumerated complaining warrant did affect current city of Detroit, probable cause of discharge of defendant, shall be filed over to the Wayne County Circuit Court Criminal Division for arraignment on the information, which will be March 30th at 9 o'clock.
Your Honor, I'd like to address, if I could, while the court is still here, the question of bond. Would you entertain an argument, or would you simply refer it for an assessment, or?
It's up to you.
I'd like to make an argument then. Judge, Mr. Hodges' bond, I believe he indicates it's now at $350,000 or 10%.
Yeah.
So, Judge, we believe that that's an unreasonably high bond in light of the fact that it's simply impossible for Mr. Hodges to post that bond. Judge, I will acknowledge, as you look through the file, you'll see that Mr. Hodges has a felonious history. I'm not going to pretend that he doesn't. He does. He served a number of years in prison for the crime of second-degree murder, which was committed almost 26 years ago. When Mr. Hodges was released from incarceration in the year 2016, he began working for the city of Detroit. He worked on his light property project, boarding up buildings. He's continued in private employment with a firm called Dogs, Windows, and Doors, which does the same sorts of things, property rehab and maintenance and boarding. He lives in the city of Detroit on Crest Street. Judge, if he was released, he's a lifelong resident. He has brothers and sisters who live in the city. If he's released, he'll live with his brother on Annott Street, A-N-N-O-T-T Street. Mr. Hodge has a daughter who's 33, a grandson who's 16. Judge, we're not asking you to simply release Mr. Hodge, but if the court would agree to a $100,000 10% bond, we believe that would be reasonable.
Louis, you heard?
Yes, and people would object to any reduction of bond, and possibilities of post is not something that should be taken into account. But the people know that this court is well aware of what should be taken into account when considering reducing bond, which is the slight risk and danger to the community. I don't know if he has a previous history for anything else that he has been charged for. However, the people believe that he is a danger to this community, Your Honor. He went into a man's apartment and shot him point blank range in his neck. That is clearly a danger to society, Your Honor. The people believe that the bond is appropriate.
All right, well, I'm looking at the CR4 charge. You know, the charges are old. I mean, but they're all stuff, unarmed robbery, and second-degree murder. At this point in time, I'm not going to change the bond. We'll refer it for a defendant screening unit report, so you can have that.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
All right, so.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I approach about another case?
Okay. Yeah, hey, Mr. Hodges, right? We'll talk.
I'm sorry. A-T-A-Y.
I'm taking it out.
Okay. That's things. Yes. Thank you.
Hey, Madam Clerk, I have another case that's coming up on time.
Is that it? Yep. Done for the day?
Yeah.
Have a good one.
All right, so then, take care.
How's their work life? How are you?
All right. Good.
We're trying to get a disposition on another case I have in your courtroom, Your Honor.
It's funny, we didn't see anything for years now. Just quick.
Hold on, Judge, I just need to sign. I just need to sign this last one.
Is that when you were here?
No, I just need to here. Right.
Right. Awesome. I didn't even make that connection until I just saw your patch. That's great. Good for you. All right, I'll see you.
Okay. Oh, I'm so hot in here. Okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you. This guy picked up another case that I charged, and I have, we have an exam coming up on the case charge, but not that case. Can you tell me if you can see what's going on with that case?
This one's in warrant status.
Yeah, I signed the
So he
warrant.
hasn't been arraigned, yeah, you signed it, but he hasn't been arraigned on this one.
Okay.
Hold on, what's the other case one?
Oh,
The other one's scheduled for exam with us?
yes.
Oh, we can pull this one in.
Calendar. Oh, that's my other calendar. The other case is an A1. Oh, goodness. Let me look it up really quickly.
Nope. What was the last one?
All right, I'll see you in the morning.
All right.
Have a good evening, Aaron. Oh, no, actually, I think he's in custody on this case.
You say you think he's in custody on the other one?
Yep, on my A1. On this.
The witness on this case was Wayne Crenshaw?
Yes.
Oh. Did you find it or not?
It's stalling. Can I just have your number and I'll just,
Well,
or
hold on,
email
I
you?
can,
Okay.
Try to search it by name.
You bring the other file and brought this one. Oh, coming up, here we go.
Okay, so it's Marcus Brown. Marcus Anthony Brown.
Good job. How you doing?
Hi, good, how are you?
That's, the paper report for them too.
Both of them?
Yeah. Okay, I think I found it. I think this is it. It's the 21 case too?
Yes.
Marcus Brown. Scheduled for exam 5/5 at 9:15.
Right. So you're saying that the warrant hasn't been authorized in this case?
No,
'Cause
it's
it says
been, the warrant's been authorized, he hasn't been arraigned on this case.
Okay, so what do I need to do to get him arraigned? Because I thought it said that he was arraigned by Laura Asharte. Did they take that?
No, not on this case.
Okay.
No, he hasn't been arraigned. Sherman signed the warrant. And that's it. And the warrant was requested. That's it. They haven't been arraigned. He hasn't been arraigned. So normally what would happen is we could just pull it and pull it for this day. But this is May 5th.
Right. I want to get him.
I'm quite sure you want to do it.
Yeah. So let me try to work on getting,
I take it he's in jail.
Yep.
Let's see, another, yeah. He's gonna need an attorney. Let's see, who's the attorney on this one? If you can get the attorney. If you can get the attorney on Zoom, we can arrange them on this one.
Okay.
And schedule it with this one,
Okay.
okay?
Oh, thank you. All right, so just get attorney on Zoom.
Yep, so the attorney that's on this, the first case,
Who does it say?
Sanford
Schulman.
Schulman,
Yeah.
I'm quite sure he's gonna get this case too.
Right.
He should.
Okay.
So just tell him he's got another case, he needs to get arraigned on it. The judge is over there.
And so we can waive the defendant's thank you.
Yeah, and then we'll set it for the same day.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So you'll be the prosecutor on both of them?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
All right, you too.
Just hard. Didn't he have a bond or just?
Enough in this one.
Did he have a bond?
Who, Giles?
Yeah.
What I do, I did a custody report?
Yeah. He had like, I heard the guy say $300,000 bond or something like that, couldn't get out. Messing me up, girl, you messing me up. Let me see what you got here with this up.
350,000.
I know what's up there. Now, this one was, so we did a custody order on Hawkins, because he's going.
Hawkins is remand. We don't have no bond.
Hawkins did him?
Nope, Hawkins ain't have a bond.
So who had the 10,000? That was Collins, okay. I got scratched. That's my game. You said Hawkins was remand, right? Remand for Hawkins.
Yeah, Hawkins was remand.
You helpful with your partner?
What you gonna do that I can't do?
Oh.
Ooh.
I mean, unless you're gonna give me her information, all right, yeah.
Well, did you hear that, kid?
I'm like, what do you mean, help? I mean, all right, I'm being honest.
Oh, man.
Only thing I need is for her to give me, I got everything else, and she wouldn't give me what I need, that's why I go her, I don't get it.
Oh, man.
Spice.
All done?
Yep, we just finished up, I gotta do paperwork.
All right.
There's a tear about to come down.
So stop it.
This tear
You know what, hey, come with me, go with
You have some sad testimony or something?
She messing with me.
No, it's how
Don't listen to her.
me down.
Don't listen to her. Don't listen to her. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm so glad Kitty came to my rescue.
Oh, stop. Oh, man, see how y'all play. That's wrong. That's so wrong.
Okay, I need his signature. He gone.
Oh, you gotta get him. Can you get Judge Giles? Okay, call him. He not yet, I don't think.
He gone. No, he ain't left that quick, probably. You think, do it?
He can go sometime. We don't play.
That's why he'd be like, do you need anything else?
Oh, yeah, he did say that.
All right.
Give me the papers, Kitty. Let me see if he back there. We got the keys back there?
I don't think we do for headquarters. I mean, for the
What's
chambers.
I don't know what's none of these.
For the chambers. I don't think.
Oh, not to the chambers, just to the, this door right here.
Oh, you could just go, it's not close.
You just need his signature.
Yeah, at the bottom, down there.
Yeah, he back.
All right.
You on this floor, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I was a little harsh, wasn't I?
Uh,
I was a little harsh. Was that too harsh?
yeah, you know.
I was hoping you said it different, but that's right. A little harsh. Well, the thing is,
You know, us females are sensitive.
I guess gotta get on the people with.
It's so hot in this.
I know, maybe that's why you know, it's too hot. I'm coughing because it's hot. I can't breathe in this damn mask, man. No air.
Maybe that's why I'm irritated. What was the attorney, Michael Woodard?
Yeah, what about
Woodyard.
Woodyard?
No, I gotta put his name on the paper.
And she almost kind of messed up. I mean, you know, I was wondering what she gonna ask if we stand or take the mat. Again, I knew he had dreads. I knew he had dreads. It's just a full
But
back.
you know what? On the defense tip,
Mhm.
I would say that was try to appeal that.
Try to what?
See if it can be appealed or something somehow. Because honestly, is that fair? He's the only one in here.
And in green too.
Who else
It's
is
still-
he gonna?
Right, that's true. Believe it or not. Hey, who else got green on? Okay,
Right.
so he ain't gonna say him. He ain't gonna say him or me.
Right.
I'm in uniform.
Everybody's
So he's
already
the
in place.
He's the obvious choice. That is so true. That's what you're right. Mr. Woodyard said, well, that makes an obvious choice. I mean, golly. But he did say he had dread, so.
He did, but even though them were braids, they weren't dreads.
Well, it depends how you look at it. You might say braid, someone else might say dreads. You might say dreads, someone says braid. I mean, it depends. The dreads are really a little more, but he on his hair then. I mean, it could be dreads. Could be dreads. I think with Mr. What's that name? Mr. Dreads, aren't they? Mr. Brown?
Mr. Brown has dreads.
Yeah. Oh, you doing something for me for Hodges now, right? So this one.
Yeah, that's the one she went to go see if she can catch it.
Sure, right. I got him. You have to catch him on the next flow. He's gone. I should have called him. Couldn't have you that long, I don't think, but nah, he don't play. Can you stamp it or?
Huh? Yeah, I'm just gonna stamp it and seal it. All I can do.
Yeah, if he doesn't. We got some over here.
Unsuccessful.
I figured it would be. Good try though, partner. You were running 2 words. You like.
He was like gone for real?
He was putting on the jet.
I knocked unless he was in the restroom or not.
Yeah, he probably don't. He probably was moving. He don't play. I tell you, he tried to. I think he don't play
You
some
should
ball.
have shot him a text before he got to his car.
He barely even look at that phone.
Oh, well, there it is then.
There it is. Oop, there it is. Oop,
Why
there
she
it
say you
is.
don't pay attention?
So you left this for me. She already signed. You took care of it?
Yeah, I copied that down. Yep, I copied that down.
Sorry to throw this-
And Mr. Woodyard's. I copied both of
I
them
can throw there somewhere.
All right, so I'm just gonna stamp this.
Hey, I'm sorry. Let's see, tight, 'cause it's hot in here.
It ain't bad as yesterday. It was so hot in here.
It's still kind of there. I can't
It
breathe.
is warm.
properly.
I was trying to tell you early. I said it started getting a little warm. I'm
Yeah,
getting hurt.
yeah.
But not
I
as
told
bad as
you. I thought you
yesterday.
heard me. I was trying to tell you something.
We both were so hot, we hit each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, the judge to order him a signature stamp.
Oh.
A lot of them don't like
Is this it right here?
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Now, that'd be cool.
What?
A signature stamp? Yeah.
He said he used to have one, but he couldn't find it or something. Oh.
You know what? One day away from me, you'd be off your game.
Who, me?
Yeah.
What happened? What I do now?
I mean, a couple of things today, you just seem like you weren't.
Oh, today?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's not you. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, well, I have bad
And then,
days.
yes, it is what it is. At least I'll bet you back and, okay, let me take this downtown.
And then Joyce be thinking I'm funny when I try to ask her who's gonna be in my courtroom. I mean, I just don't like stuff. See, so Ben comes back and asks me to file the files then from yesterday.
See, what he big dog now, you ain't work for him.
He asked me to file files, then he brings me the second party checks for his files that were Katie's.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't have nothing else to do.
So, yeah. So this way, we done, I'm gonna take the paperwork down.
Yes, sir.
You know, that's how I be getting on. She be messing with me, man. She is something else. She is something else. I'm telling you. That little smile and all that, you think that she's just, she's a
Me and
killer.
Kenny ain't never had no problem.
She's a killer.
Kenny don't shoot me down.
She's a killer. She's a killer, man. She's a silent killer.
You know, I used to call her son pork chop.
Okay.
When he was a baby, he was chunky.
Yep, sure was. Looked just like a pork chop. You was a big little dude.
He like his mama, pork chop. Take this stuff down, I think I get everything right. Man, I think I got everything right. Man, it is warm to me in here. It's just.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to work.
You got air ain't doing that. Man. Yeah.